Hello, everyone. I once saw someone tickle a kitten. Tickle, tickle, and the cat went. It was adorable. But I guess some things just stick in your head. We're reading Numbers 20. The death of Miriam. That's Moses' older sister. And the people of Israel. This is Numbers. Remember, in the Holy Bible, there are many books, 66 of them, if you're reading a certain version. We have already read through Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, and now we are in Numbers. Okay. The whole congregation came into the wilderness of Zin in the first month, and the people stayed in Kadesh. And Miriam died there and was buried there. The waters of Meribah, that is the title for this next section. We're at verse 2. Now there was no water for the congregation, and they assembled themselves together against Moses and against Aaron. And the people quarreled with Moses and said, "Would that we had perished when our brothers perished before the Lord. Why have you brought the assembly of the Lord into this wilderness, that we should die here, both we and our cattle? And why have you made us come up out of Egypt to bring us to this evil place? It is no place for grain or figs or vines or pomegranates, and there is no water to drink." Then Moses and Aaron went from the presence of the assembly to the entrance of the tent of meeting and fell on their faces. And the glory of the Lord appeared to them. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Take the staff and assemble the congregation, you and Aaron your brother, and tell the rock," not Dwayne Johnson. We're telling the rock, like a rock. Ding, ding. Okay, that's metal. That's wood. Wait, hold on. I don't know what sound a rock makes when you knock on it. But not Dwayne Johnson. He wasn't alive back then. I don't think so. So God, the Lord, is saying, talk to that rock, speak to it before their eyes, and tell it to yield its water. Talk to a rock, a big rock. I heard it was a very large rock. Does that look funny? It is a really large rock. So you shall bring water out of the rock, water out of a rock for them, and give drink to the congregation and their cattle. So they were thirsty, and Moses took the staff from before the Lord, as the Lord, he commanded him. The title of the next section is Moses Strikes the Rock. Then Moses and Aaron gathered the assembly together before the rock, and they said to them, "Hear now, you rebels." Moses is actually a nice person. He's just sort of kidding, "Hear now, you rebellious rebels. Shall we bring water for you out of this rock?" And Moses lifted up his hand. His hand. Lift up his hand. Hold on, folks. A little scratchy. Throat. He lifted up his hand and struck the rock with his staff twice. And water came out abundantly. And the congregation drank, and their livestock drank. And the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, because you did not believe in me, to uphold me as holy in the eyes of the people of Israel. Therefore, sad, you shall not bring this assembly into the land that I have given them. So we've been talking about assemblies. I think they're groups of people that appear before God at the tent. So this group, the thirsty guys, they're not going to either. Hello. Right now, there's a lot of crap in the air. It looks like I did the Indian thing. Okay, so it's kind of sad. If you've been following my videos, groups of people will walk up to Moses and Aaron, and they're always complaining, and I guess they're called assemblies. They're a group, and so far they just keep making God mad, and he destroyed a lot of them. And the thirsty group, they also will not enter what's called the promised land. Verse 13, we're at verse 13. These are the waters of Meribah. Meribah means quarreling, where the people of Israel quarreled with the Lord, and through them he showed himself holy. Edom refuses passage. Moses sent messengers from Kadesh to the king of Edom. Thus says your brother Israel, you know all the hardship that we have met, how our fathers went down to Egypt, and we lived in Egypt a long time. And the Egyptians dealt harshly with us and our fathers. And when we cried to the Lord, he heard our voice and sent an angel. That's a holy angel warrior, a Kadosh Malakim, and brought us out of Egypt. And here we are in Kadesh, a city on the edge of your territory. Please let us pass through your land. We will not pass through field or vineyard or drink water from a well. We will go along the king's highway, We will not turn aside to the right hand or to the left until we have passed through your territory. But Edom said to him, You shall not pass through, lest I come out with the sword against you. And the people of Israel said to him, We will go up by the highway, and if we drink of your water, I and my livestock, then I will pay for it. Let me only pass through on foot, nothing more. Nothing more. I think there's dust in the air. But he said, You shall not pass through. And Edom came out against them with a large army and with a strong force. Thus Edom refused to give Israel passage through his territory. So Israel turned away from him. The death of Aaron. And they journeyed from Kadesh, and the people of Israel, the whole congregation, came to Mount Hor. It's probably still pronounced Or. And the Lord said to Moses, And Aaron at Mount Hor, on the border of the land of Edom, let Aaron be gathered. Let Aaron be gathered to his people, for he shall not enter the land that I have given to the people of Israel, because you rebelled against my command at the waters of Meribah. Take Aaron and Eleazar, his son, and bring them up to Mount Hor, and strip Aaron of his garments, his clothes, but they're not his clothes. He has special clothes that he wears. It's like religious people, they wear special clothing. So take Aaron's special clothing and put them on Eleazar his son, and Aaron shall be gathered to his people and shall die there. Moses did as the Lord commanded, and they went up Mount Hor in the sight of all the congregation. And Moses stripped Aaron of his garments and put them on Eleazar his son. And Aaron died there on the top of the mountain. Then Moses and Eleazar came down from the mountain, and when all the congregation saw that Aaron had perished, all the house of Israel wept for Aaron 30 days. It seems like God told Moses to speak to the rock, and he said, speak to the rock, and it will yield its water. But Moses lifted his hand and struck it twice, and water came out abundantly. Seems harsh, but because Moses and Aaron did not uh, execute God's will, his instructions perfectly. Aaron had to retire, and his son took over. But things were different back then. Maybe you had to disobey on purpose. Then you would be given a retirement. I don't know. This is a very difficult passage to understand. But it seems like now all three, Miriam, spoiler alert, Aaron and Moses will not enter the promised land. And then, we are young. Even myself, older people, they just keep reading the Bible and the Holy Bible, and they never tell you how much they know. But, we always think, they don't get to enter the promised land, which is the reason they were delivered from Egypt. God, brought them out with a mighty hand, and the promise to the descendants of Jacob is they're going to enter the promised land. They will have their own country pretty soon. And they were like, the three of them, they don't get to go in there, so that's bad, They failed. But I'm not so sure. Remember that all three of them are siblings. They're all brother and sister. And I think they were just tired, And the people they had to lead, they were such complainers. And God really is in control of everything. I really believe that. Sometimes he's tricky, Let's say I'm a prophet, right? And he tells me to throw a rock at something. Just throw it and do your best to hit that target. And then I'm not that good at hitting a target. I'll just throw it at the target, and what do you know? It hits the target. And that really was God. He just either guided your hand, or he moved the rock to hit the target right, boom, right on target. But sometimes in this case, did Moses do a different thing? What if he told me to throw it and it'll hit the target, and it didn't hit the target, but he was still controlling things. He controlled it to not hit the target, and then he said, no, you did the wrong thing. You didn't hit the target. But I could go, but I have the force. I perceive that you controlled me to not hit the target. And then he doesn't say anything. You have to trust him. I don't know if that makes sense. I just think the three of them were so tired, At this point, I don't know how old Moses is, but he's pretty old, He's maybe close to 100 years old. And the other two, they're older than him. They're his older siblings. So I just think that sometimes in the Bible, they are not even just of a different culture. When we're reading the Bible, we're thinking about now, and we're thinking about people in Israel or Egypt, or right now you hear about Saudi Arabia. this is an ancient time, so that really may be the case. When you wanted to retire, you had to disobey. Think about it. Think about it. I must enunciate. Remember, keep God first. He'll take you places.